Yeah, like customer app, it's like the best software I've used.
All right, we're live. I believe we are live here. Let me just check. All right, perfect. We're live here. So what we're going to be talking about today is why you need to ignore the external when you're trying to
It's
grow
horrible.
your
I hate
pressure
the movie
washing
so much.
business and how it can be very beneficial for you
Honestly,
and also keep you on
there's
track
gotta
of
be something
where
better.
you want to be and where you need to be at. So let me just
Yeah, there's
pull
like
this
Google
up here
Google
real quick.
Classroom, and then there's also Zoom.
Okay, we're good now. So
Right.
the topic today, just so for the people that don't know me, I am Jack. I run a pressure washing business, Ladbrokes Pressure Washing, out of Central Illinois, and I've been doing this for going on 2 years now.
Oh yeah, whenever we
And
all
I've
get
had a lot
married
of
on it.
trials and tribulations. And the goal here with this basically podcast, I run it every day, and I'll be open at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central for me here, running it for an hour every day, sometimes longer if you guys have any questions or anything that you do need to be addressed. And I go over the trials and tribulations of how I've been able to grow my pressure washing business so that you guys have less resistance and you have less issues with it for growing your business. So that's a little bit about me. We started in June of 2019 and I was working full time then, and we did about 10K the first year, and that was from June to about the beginning of December because we work here in Illinois. It gets very cold, so you can't pressure wash that much, unfortunately. But we were able to do about 10K that first year. Really dialed it in, got the website popping, and I eventually quit my full time sales position at a telecommunications company. And I then went on to go full time in April of last year. And from April to December of this year, my partner and I did about 60K. And this year we're wanting to do a lot more, get into more of the commercial work, and just go more crazy with that. So that's kind of the synopsis here of what I've been doing. But today I wanted to talk about, and I also have the phone lines open. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or as well call in 319-527-6060. 319-527-6060. Soon enough I'll have that number memorized. But what I'm talking about today is that you need to basically really protect your mental against the external, because as you're working through things, you're going to have people who are going to be doubters of you. You're going to have people who are haters. And at least in this talk, I'd like to kind of extrapolate and help you out with understanding why people are going to hate on what you do. Even some of your closest friends will hate. I've had family members that have hated. Sometimes it's not direct hate. Sometimes it's more so just a person talking to you in a way that is basically saying that you're not doing what you're doing correctly because you're not on the same path that that person is. So, for instance, I was going to the university, Central Illinois University here. I was on track to go to medical school, and I was taking my medical admissions test. I was doing all that. I was getting ahead. I was going pop, 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 and I was doing well. And I said in my head that I didn't want to do this anymore. And I eventually told some of my family members. I told my mom, and she was generally supportive. But you'll have these kind of little things that if you let get into you can be very dangerous to your ability to perform, and also with your ability to understand that you can basically do this, because I'm not anybody any crazier than the next person, and I was able to do this. And at the end of the day, we're literally just spraying water on houses. You have to mix a little bit of chemicals, but once you get the first batch down, it's basically the same thing. The customers are basically the same. There's no insane problems that you have to solve. Maybe your equipment breaks down once or twice, but that's about it. And so what they were saying was, for instance, I'd get on the phone with my grandma and she's like, wow, Jack, you're not going to be going to medical school anymore. What am I going to tell all of my friends? I told everybody that you were going to be a doctor and that you were going to do all this stuff, because they had an investment in me doing something that they wanted me to do at the time. And so I could have said, wow, oh, I'm so sorry, Grandma. I didn't want to really disgrace you and all that stuff, and then just go back to doing exactly what they were wanting me to do. That would have been focusing on the external rather than what I actually want to do inside of my life and where I want to go myself. And that would have been a very dangerous thing for me to set up there. But you had to have a strong internal locus for yourself of understanding that what you're trying to do is going to get you where you need to go. So you do have to have some blind faith in yourself, but you also need to worry about blocking out the people who are going to be very negative for you on your journey to where you want to be at. Because nobody has interest in you like you have interest in yourself. Even some of your best friends will have negative interest in you because when they start to see you going better and doing more inside of your life, they're going to react with it negatively because they're going to think, why am I not doing and being in the position that this person is? Especially if your friends are the same age as you or older. Because there's a lot of issue of crabs in the bucket where you're going to have to deal with people who are just going to be negative against you. Sometimes, and it does hurt the most when it's the people that is closest to you because you imagine that they have your back. If you're a positive person yourself and you think that everybody is going to have your side, and then they go and say things like, yeah, Jack, well, I don't know if you can really do this, or, how much money did you make with this so far? Wow, you should you're not really making that much money. Maybe you should, just go back and have a regular job, I don't really think this is going to work out with you very much. Thankfully, I didn't have very many friends that were super negative to me. Just because I whatever I set out to, I basically get it every time. So that had helped out a lot. We got a new home advisor lead here. Let me check that real quick. But what you're going to have to do and you're going to have issues of is some people just don't want to see you succeed. And you believe that they would because they are your greatest friends with it. So that's one thing. And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. Call up 319-527-6060. And you're going to have a false belief at the beginning that you're capable of doing whatever you want because you're not going to have the proof of concept automatically inside of it. Businesses can go very fast when you have the exact formula for what you're doing with it. But when you're trying to learn at the same time as trying to produce, you're going to have some hiccups along the way, and it's going to be a little bit difficult there for you for a minute. But important to keep with yourself and also keep with people that are beneficial to you and are going to be positive forces for you to actually go further with it. So what do I mean by that? You need to be, and you are, the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. If you are around people who are constantly negative, who are constantly worrying about the external, worrying about politics, worrying about policies, following the news religiously, even the applications on your phone can be something that can be an issue for you. So for instance, who you follow on Twitter is an influence for you. Whoever you're watching on Facebook on the regular is an influence to you. If you're watching these people and they're constantly being negative, they're saying things like, oh, the world doesn't work for me. Oh, I can't seem to do this. I can't do that. There's no possible way to do this. It's too hard. The world's rigged against me. XYZ. They may be correct in their assessment. There may be more difficult. Let's say, you don't really have very much money. Maybe, it's a little bit harder for you than somebody that was born into wealth. But for instance, I was not born into wealth. I don't have any generational wealth. Both my parents are divorced, everything like that. And you do have to guard yourself against that because it can be very dangerous for you if you let these kinds of things creep into your mind. because your mind needs to be guarded as much as possible. So, for instance, the elections just happened recently, and there's a lot of, you can have whatever opinion you want based upon it, but if you're still sitting there, if you were on, if you're a Republican and you're still sitting there saying, wow, the election was stolen, so the world's going to rot here soon, you're listening to all these conspiracy theories, and you think that the system is rigged against you, the system may be actually rigged against both sides, but sitting there and worrying about that stuff all day long is not going to do any benefit to you whatsoever. It's actually going to do the opposite, and it's actually going to have the effect that whatever the news source is trying to have on you. For instance, it's going to make you inactive. You're not going to be moving towards the goal that you have. So if you are not growing, you are decaying. And in and of itself, that is the answer. When you're worrying about all these things that are on the external instead of worrying about your internal things that you can control, you will always fail because you are wasting time worrying about other things like that. And like I said, with the 5 people that you're hanging around, if you're hanging around broke people, people who are not trying to advance their lives, they're wasting time, they're drinking every weekend, they're always trying to get as messed up as possible, they're not controlling themselves, they don't take care of their lives, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be very, very difficult. You have to protect yourself, and it can be hard. It definitely can be hard because you feel as though you have an obligation to these people to do exactly and be on their side forever. We have a friend group, or I had a friend group who I thought would be there through thick and thin, but as time progresses, you will always see the truth behind the person. If the people don't want the best for you and they have their own kind of scripts they're trying to run through the world based upon their own ego investment and their basically their own agenda, and you're outside of their agenda, you will run into some backlash. You do need a lot of open-minded people, a lot of people that are positive, that are going to tell you that it's possible to do the things, because if you don't believe it's possible, then it's just not possible. It's like the quote, if whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right in and of itself. Thirsty, just got back from the gym. And that goes for both sides, actually. Like when Trump was in office, a lot of people basically wasted their whole 4 years sitting there on Twitter, not getting anything done, basically being reactive to all of the tweets that are going out all the time. They did not do and get anywhere in their lives during that time, and they were stagnant. And if anything, that is exactly what the Republicans would have wanted you to do, was to be angry, to be outraged, to worry about things that whole entire time to no end. And again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm kind of going on to the mindset here today, but if you have any questions about anything on topic or to do with pressure washing business, feel free to drop a comment in there or call 319-527-6060. 319-527-6060. Love to get somebody on the phone to help them dissect their business for them. But yeah, basically you just need to be very guarded, and society will tell you that you are being a selfish person. But the thing is if you cannot help yourself, and you cannot help others, you cannot pour from a cup that is empty. You have to be a strong pillar for yourself before you can actually affect the change on the other people for that. I just do have to say though that this is a pretty amazing day. I want to show you guys this a little bit off topic, but let's see here. Let's switch over. What we're seeing today as well is just hilarity. So you have like AMC here. it's got halted. So here's another reason why like you really had to get yourself straight. So for instance, go back a month, AMC was getting heavily shorted by all the hedge funds, and then it was getting heavily shorted, and then a bunch of small people came together and they basically pushed up the stock because the people were shorting the stock, and they had to move back out of their positions so that they could not lose all of their money. Wow. GameStop's actually kind of down right now. But what you're seeing here is just absolute insanity, hilarity with it. And again, you should be seeing these things, and then you can see, can you get anything out of it or not, and then you should switch off of it. Just funny. I just have to say this is an amazing day. It's just so funny what's happening here. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, you really do have to be careful. You just have to be careful about other people telling you certain things, getting into your ear, telling you how to run your life, because some people will want to just have the thumb underneath of you. It can unfortunately be the closest people to you in your life. It could be, your wife, your mom, your grandparents, because they think that they want the best for you, and they necessarily do. But whenever you're going off of these unprescribed motions, like being an entrepreneur, running a business, when everybody else has got the idea that they want to work at a place for 20 years, the older generation, how it is in their mind to want to work at a place for 20 years. And then you get the gold watch, and then you leave the job, and then you move on. And it just, unfortunately, just doesn't work as well as people would hope for now. And I mean, that's about all I got for this topic today. I'll talk for about another 3 minutes or so. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them down below or call in 319-527-6060, and I can help you out with all the issues that you have inside your pressure washing business to get it up and running and to make it better so that you can make more money, so that you can get more leads, so that you can have more free time, so that you can hire employees if you want to, so that you can go and live in Florida on the beach while you're making money. Got about 2 more minutes here. I do just have to say, just an amazing day. Just so fun. Just seeing all this. And then you have so many people backing it up, calling this the biggest issue ever, saying it's such an insane fraud. So fun. One more minute. Call in 319-527-6060. I've actually never even called in. I'm gonna try to call in myself, see what it does. See how this goes.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN. When finished, press the pound key.
Wow. Fucking goofball. You didn't put up the right phone number, Jack. But people can't call in.
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Unmuted.
Hello? Perfect. Nice. Well, we'll get that figured out for the next stream, but it's good to know actually. Perfect. Well, I'll be heading out here today. Nice talking to you guys. We'll come back again tomorrow, every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll get the phone number fixed for you guys. Feel free to call in, and we can get this popping. Hope you guys have a great day. Grow your businesses. Get further in life. Get the things that you want, and have a great day. Peace.